أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. اللهم انصر من نصر الدين فاجعلنا منهم واخذل من خذل الدين ولا تجعلنا منهم إن شاء الله. الفصل الرابع عشر في أن الدولة لها أعمار طبيعية كما للأشخاص. نعم. يعني in our previous class he talked about macro level analysis. Now he's going into micro level analysis at the level of individuals. So this multiplexity, combining macro and micro analysis together. So اعلم أن العمر الطبيعي للأشخاص على ما زعم الأطباء والمنجمون 120 سنة. يعني في هذا الوقت المنجمون أيضا كانوا ناس يعني معتبرون، يعني people respected their views also regarding this astrology or علم النجوم. If you attribute power to them, then this is kufr, shirk. But if you don't attribute power to them and just accept that they are just indicators, but they don't have a power, then it's okay. Yani you use this as a sign to predict something. This is okay. I mean, this is not kufr, but it's wrong. It's baseless, but not kufr, because you're not attributing any power to the stars, okay? But just you argue that there is a kind of parallelism or coincidence between the two, and using this as a sign, you can predict what's going to happen. So and at that time, people, they believed in these things because astronomy was not developed as much as today. But he's relying on atibba and munajjimun, so medical scholars as well as the astrologists. So according to this, أن العمر الطبيعي للأشخاص 120 سنة. So normally a human being should live 120 years. Okay, according to scholars and munajjims at the time. وهي سن القمر الكبرى عند المنجمين. So according to these astrologists, this is called سن القمر الكبرى. So like a big tour of this moon goes like this. So the biggest when this large tour is completed, this is 120 years. So from this, they conclude human life should also be 120 years. Based on this, they see a parallelism between those. They assume. I mean, this is not really realistic. ويختلف العمر في كل جيل بحسب القرانات. But in every generation, the longevity of life varies depending on conjunctions in the stars. فيزيد عن هذا وينقص منه. So it's not really standard. Sometimes one generation 40, sometimes more, sometimes less. فتكون أعمار بعض أهل القرانات 100 تامة وبعضهم 50 أو 80 أو 70 على ما تقتضيه أدلة القرانات. So according to munajjims. Sometimes our scholars they relate or they narrate one view. This does not necessarily show they accept it, because sometimes people automatically jump to the conclusion, okay, he narrates this view and he agrees with it. This is not always true, because sometimes, let's say there's a common view, like even when we write an article, like what do we do first? Like we review literature, right? we say, okay, this person says this person says that, etc., etc. So just to show awareness about the circulating views, in the culture. So I don't think Ibn Khaldun believes in these things, but he has to report it because there is a discourse. People are speaking like this just to show this. And actually he says like زعم يعني زعم الأطباء والمنجمون يعني can, as if he's putting a distance. This is their زعم. This is their claim. This is their claim. Okay? Yeah. عند الناظرين فيها. Again, he said عند الناظرين فيها. According to those people who accept this. According to people who study and do research along these lines. وأعمار هذه الملة ما بين 60 إلى 70 كما في الحديث. See, now he's bringing another view from hadith. يعني يستدل من الحديث. And here he's not saying زعم. He's not saying عند الناظرين فيها. Okay? Because this shows that he agrees, with this. Okay? So these are subtle meanings of the expressions in Arabic. Okay? So the hadith is in the footnote. أعمار أمتي ما بين 60 إلى 70 وأقلهم من يجوز ذلك. عليه السلام. يعني Rasulullah ﷺ said the longevity of my community's life is between 16 and 17, and very few surpasses this. So أخرجه الترمذي وابن ماجه من حديث أبو هريرة. نعم. ولا يزيد على العمر الطبيعي الذي هو 120 إلا في الصور النادرة. So he says rarely people like go over 120. وعلى الأوضاع الغريبة من الفلك كما وقع في شأن نوح عليه السلام وقليل من قوم عاد وثمود. Okay, so Nuh عليه السلام, is reported to have lived like 1,000 years. أما أعمار الدول أيضا. So he's making a parallelism, between the life of individuals and life of the states. This is called social organism. There is a school of thought which compares social institutions with living biological organisms. Okay? So he's also from that school, or he's using this as a heuristic tool, to explain the changes in the institutional structure of the state and the transformations it goes through, because changes in human body is the closest experience, to every human being. So you can use this to make them understand institutional changes, because everyone knows how human body, like biologically changes, goes through atwar. So you can use this as a heuristic tool to explain to them that the same thing happens with the state, with other institutions. So this is a metaphor, actually metaphor, and our ulama use these metaphors even in the Quran. يعني وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٍ. So ajal is for living beings, right? So Allah Ta'ala is using this for the ummah. So Allah Ta'ala makes this parallelism between the social group and the biological life. وإن كانت تختلف بحسب القرانات إلا أن الدولة في الغالب لا تعدو أعمار 3 أجيال. So the state, its life, its longevity does not exceed 3 generations. Okay, 3 generations. And of course, those 3 generations like around 40 years, like approximately, but he said it could be more, it could be less. والجيل هو عمر شخص واحد من العمر الوسط. So an average longevity of an individual. فيكون 40 الذي هو انتهاء النمو ونشوء إلى غايته. And so he says every generation takes 40 years. And this is the end of the growth, the development of human body. Because after 40, you start declining. Right, Sheikh? How old are you?
54.
54. But you're not declining, mashallah. Keep growing. Just losing some weight. نعم. قال تعالى حتى إذا بلغ أشده وبلغ 40 سنة. So Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that until he reached the maturity, the ashud, the maturity, and when you reach maturity, this is the time you are strongest. What will the age of people in paradise?
33.
Huh?
The age of people.
No, I'm asking him.
We have two principles.
No. I am asking you, age of people in paradise. You cannot answer with principles. You have to rely on Quran or Hadith.
Yeah, from Quran we have 60 or 70, and rarely few people can exceed.
No, wrong answer. You studied only language. You should study more Hadith. Okay.
33 years.
33. This is in Hadith.
This is generation.
No, people in paradise, their life will be like their age will be 33 years old. Why? Because this is the best time of one's biology. Like the strength, health, dynamism. So old people will not go to paradise. People at the age of 70 will not go to paradise. Okay?
It is eternal.
Huh?
Eternal.
No. Yeah. An old lady came and asked Rasulullah. She said, am I going to go to paradise? And Rasulullah made mizah. He said, no, old people cannot go to paradise. And she was so sad and sorry. And Rasulullah explained. He said, you'll go to paradise as a young lady, not an old lady. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, ولهذا قلنا إن عمر الشخص الواحد هو عمر الجيل. Because at that time, longevity was 40 years. Like you see all this, like Imam Nawawi died and his age was 40. Like at that time, the average lifespan was 40, longevity. Rarely people lived more. So today it's going, up and up. Now like a 60, 70, 80, 90, but life quality going down. So they were dying young. Yeah, please. Yeah, there is a chair. Yeah, she's gonna bring a chair for herself. Okay. ويؤيده ما ذكرناه في حكمة التيه. Okay, who's gonna tell me the meaning of this sentence? حكمة التيه. Yahud. What happened? Allah Ta'ala made them get lost in the desert for 40 years. Why? Because they were brainwashed as slaves of the Pharaoh, and this slavery mentality, this colonized mentality made them like cowards. They did not want to fight, to conquer Palestine and Jerusalem, etc. So Allah Ta'ala, on the one hand, punished them by making them get lost, in the desert, and on the other hand, in 40 years, a new generation emerged in the desert. They have never experienced slavery, so they were independent-minded. They were courageous. They were coming from the desert, so they were brave generation. So this is how they fought in and conquered Palestine. So like here, let's analyze this methodologically, and you will see multiplex methodology being used here. Like he's first like using empirical evidence from atibba, from medical doctors, empirical evidence. Second, he's relying on the an-nazirin. إيش معنى ناظرين? This theoretical thinking, not empirical research. So those astrologists, they are nazirin. They are speculating, rational evidence. So he's accepting this one also. He's using it, okay? And then he's using wahi, Quran and hadith. See? So he's combining empirical knowledge, rational knowledge, plus wahi. أسباب العلم ثلاثة: العقل السليم، الحواس السليمة، الخبر الصادق. 3 sources of knowledge, and you see he's using 3 sources of knowledge. He's not like positivist who claim you can use only empirical knowledge. Like he's not like rationalist. You can use only speculative philosophical arguments. And also he's not like scholastic people just rely on the sacred text, just Bible, nothing else. So you see he's using 3 of them, but because of our positivist education, like we feel kind of irritated, right? So how can he bring ayat min al-Quran and hadith and also like the empirical evidence from like medical doctors? See what I mean? It's like, how can he's combining? So as if like he's not supposed to cite verse from the Quran because this is an academic text. He's not supposed to cite a hadith because this is an academic text. No, so he's reflecting the epistemology and the methodology of his time, and it's very multiplex. Sources of knowledge, not one. You can use wahi as a source of knowledge, empirical research as a source of knowledge, and also rational thinking as a source of knowledge. And you see he's using these 3 epistemology and methodology. So this is what we call maratib al-ulum, maratib al-usul. And multiplex epistemology and multiplex methodology. Okay. Okay. ويؤيده ما ذكرناه في حكمة التيه، the desert الذي وقع في بني إسرائيل، وأن المقصود بالأربعين فيه فناء الجيل الأحياء ونشأة جيل آخر لم يعهدوا الذل ولا عرفوه. So this new generation, because Allah Ta'ala wanted them to spend 40 years in the desert, so that this new generation who have never experienced slavery should grow up. فدل على اعتبار الأربعين في عمر الجيل. So this hikmat from Allah Ta'ala shows us the generation, how many years it should be. Okay? الذي هو عمر الشخص الواحد, and this is the lifetime of a single person. So the ummah today should also get lost in the desert, so that we get brainwashed from this intellectual slavery. So how are we going to like erase from our minds this slavery mentality imposed on us? But it's very difficult to clean our minds from this inferiority complex, from the Western supremacy. وإنما قلنا إن عمر الدولة لا يعدو في الغالب ثلاثة أجيال. You see, he's always using qualifications, you know, في الغالب. يعني, so he's not predeterminist, you know, and he's not making like a sharp generalizations, just like approximately in general, you know, for the most part, you know, this is like that. So this is طبيعة العمران. He calls it طبيعة العمران. But at the same time, there are always exceptions to the rule. لأن الجيل الأول لم يزالوا على خلق البداوة وخشونتها وتوحشها من شظف العيش والبسالة والإفتراس والاشتراك في المجد. So the first generation, what are their characteristics? What are their characteristics? First, خلق البداوة. في اليمن موجود؟ أكيد تمام.
الدولة here is not a state, it's dynasty.
So دولة at that time ruled by a dynasty, but in other time maybe ruled by another way. يعني, okay. So basically you can like you may say the ruling class. You know, ruling class, you may translate like a ruling class. You may say the dynasty. You know, you may also say state. You know, okay. Or the best thing not to translate. But if you don't translate, then it's not going to be understood. So, like every translation you make, you are compromising the meaning. You know, you are losing some meaning. Like you say salat and prayer, are they the same? You say haram, forbidden. Are they the same? No. You say halal, permissible. Is the same? No. Deen, religion. Are they the same? No. You say Rasul, Nabi, and then you say messenger, prophet. They're not the same. Like you are always losing, you know, something. That's why non-Arab nations, after they became Muslims, either they completely accepted Arabic, like your country, Berbers. You know,
Berber is a pejorative, semantic content.
So how should we say?
We say free people.
Amazigh.
Yeah.
So Amazigh.
Yeah.
Amazigh. No, Ibn Khaldun says Berber. Yani.
Because he doesn't understand.
No, but
no,
in the look, no, this is at the nationalist period emerged Berber as if is a pejorative. You know. Anyway, they say Amazigh. So, like Egyptians, Amazigh, those North African people, they accepted Arabic, and they started speaking Arabic. Okay, this is very good. But Persians, Pakistanis, Turks, Malaysians, Indonesians, they did not accept Arabic. You know, they kept their own original language, but they adopted all the terminology, religious terminology, academic terminology, philosophical terminology, the same. Like now, you analyze Turkish, Urdu, Persian, Malay, Indonesian, and the Balkan languages. Haram is haram in all these languages. Halal is halal in all these languages. You know, Sunnah is Sunnah in all these languages. Assalamu alaikum is not translated. See what I mean? So they kept the mustalahat, the Islamic terminology, philosophical terminology in all languages. So this created standardization and cultural, intellectual, academic unity. You know, so today my strategy is also the same. So I don't translate key concepts like fiqh. I never call it Islamic law. Fiqh is fiqh. You know, so Adamiyya is Adamiyya. You know, so like and I think we as non-Arabic speakers like English, French, German, whatever, you know, so we should maintain this language policy, introduce these concepts to these Western languages also, and maintain them the same, you know, inshallah. So this is very strategic for the cultural unity. For instance, halal When I was in America, nobody knew halal. But now, even in the supermarket, you go, it says halal meat. So everyone learned halal. You know, they should learn all other, like Eid. Now everyone knows Eid. You know, so slowly it will go. So better than translating those concepts, we should try to promote that, like everyone learns. Because in Western languages, all concepts come from Latin or Greek. And in Islamic languages, they must come from Arabic. You know, so that Arabic becomes like a lingua franca. Today in the world, Islam is the fastest growing religion. Is the fastest growing religion according to statistics. And in this new development, I believe it's very important for us to maintain this cultural unity by spreading these key concepts, in every language. Okay. So anyway, the first generation, لأن الجيل الأول لم يزالوا على خلق البداوة. So what distinguishes every generation from other generation is their morality, their ethics. So this is very important. Okay. So like in our sociology, morality, ethics is the most important, how should I say, feature, of society, of every generation. Okay, so first he's looking at khuluq. So first generation is characterized by khuluq al-badawa. So what are those khuluq al-badawa? Khushunet. They are rough people. But he's not using this in a pejorative vein, because this khushunet is needed for the power of the state. Because if everybody is like very gentle like us, who's gonna fight the war? You need some khushunet. Okay, so khushunet wa tawahhushiha, this wild character, من شغف العيش والبسالة والافتراس. They are brave, and they are how should I say, iftiras. They have like chivalry. They attack. Iftiras to capture hunting. I'm sorry?
Ravenous behavior.
Yeah. So they have iftiras. So they go and attack and capture things. So they are not like a lazy people, sitting and waiting. They are very dynamic. So والاشتراك في المجد, and they share glory. They share glory. They share power. Al-majd. So these are the features of the first generation. So they have khuluq al-badawa, and khuluq al-badawa is generosity. They are brave people. They like to share. They are not egoist, and they are not after luxury. They are not after leisure. They are not after comfortable life. And they share among themselves al-majd, the glory. فلا تزال بذلك ثورة العصبية. So al-asabiyya, this group unity, continues in this first generation. So they are not individualistic. They have a community, and this community stick to each other. They have unity. محفوظة فيهم. So asabiyya is protected. So asabiyya and khuluq, remember from our previous class. So asabiyya is the prerequisite, and khilal al-khair. Khilal al-khair is the complementary prerequisite in order for a state to emerge, in order for a dynasty to emerge and gain power. Because khilal al-khair, he said علامة الإمامة علامة الرئاسة. So these good moral qualities shows that these people deserve to be leaders, because they have good ethical qualities, moral qualities. So this is still, preserved by them. فحدهم مرهف. So their sword is very sharp. وجانبهم مرهوب, and they deter people. People are deterred by their power. They are scared from them. Why? Because عندهم خشونة, عندهم توحش, okay, عندهم بسالة, عندهم افتراس, these qualities. So other people are scared from them. والناس لهم مغلوبون, and other people are subjugated to them. They are victorious over other people, and they reflect these brave qualities. And so الجيل الثاني, so this is the first generation, but this does not stay all the time, because Ibn Khaldun always very sensitive to change, okay, how things change and causes of the change, like what makes the change happen. Inshallah, in our next class we will be talking about the causes, like what makes the first generation to have these qualities, and then what makes the second generation slowly lose these qualities. So he's analyzing the causes also. This is just observation, okay? Then this how, and then comes why question. Inshallah, we will be discussing this as well. By the way, next week I'll be traveling, so we'll have no class, and the week after, inshallah ta'ala. Let me mention this. والجيل الثاني تحول حالهم بالملك والترفه. So the second generation, they go through transformation because of the mulk. They have this power, this authority, this glory they have, and luxury, prosperity, richness they have. So this mulk and tarafuh changes people. Okay? What kind of transformation they go through? من البداوة إلى الحضارة. So they leave all this al-Umran al-Badawi characters. They gain the characteristics of al-Umran al-Hadari. Okay? ومن الشظف إلى الترف والخصب. So they had this scarcity, poverty, rough and tough life conditions. They become, they now have taraf. Taraf means prosperity, leisure, luxury, and khasab, abundance, because they have mulk, they have money, so they have abundance of everything. Okay, they are rich people because they have a state, and they subjugate other people. They collect taxes, so they move from Badawa features to Hadara features. ومن الاشتراك في المجد إلى انفراد الواحد به. So from power sharing to monopolizing power. So this is how they go through a transformation. Okay, this is the second. وكسل الباقين عن السعي فيه. And so like one group gains monopoly over power, the rest كسل, they don't fight to get power. They surrender, they accept. Okay, now this group has power, we accept their power. So they don't want to fight, they don't want to try to resist or share the power. They accept, they give their consent to one group who monopolizes the power. ومن العز الاستطالة إلى ذل الاستكانة. So they go through a transformation from عز الاستطالة. يعني استطالة means competition. From the honor of competing to ذل الاستكانة. To like having a peaceful life. So by subjecting themselves to the will of these people who have istibdad, so they accept this. But of course, there are causes, for all these things. I mean, this is not like happening, because of the will of a particular group. So he explains why these things happen. And actually, this is the state, right? Today, this is the state we have. So there's like a monopoly of power, and everybody agrees with that. فتنكسر ثورة العصبية بعض الشيء. So in this phase, this unity in the group starts fragmenting. It gets broken and starts fragmentation. This unity of the community is slowly lost. وتؤنس منهم المهانة والخضوع. So they like being subjugated. They like obedience. But in the beginning they were like متوحشون عندهم خشونة افتراس, and they were like اشتراك في المجد. Now they say okay, يعني مهانة وخضوع. يعني they get used to it. They get used to it, and they like تؤنس. يعني ويبقى لهم الكثير من ذلك. And the majority accept this. بما أدركوا الجيل الأول وباشروا أحوالهم وشاهدوا اعتزازهم وسعيهم إلى المجد. So what they observed from the previous generation, this first generation, some of the things or majority of the things which they inherited from the first generation remains with them. Yeah? ويبقى لهم الكثير من ذلك, from the first generation, those qualities they inherited, although they slowly goes through some erosion, some decrease, but still stays in this second generation. بما أدركوا الجيل الأول, because they learned from the first generation. وباشروا أحوالهم, and they were like a first-hand experience. They were observing these things. وشاهدوا, and they saw that this first generation, this is what they were behaving, this is how they were acting. اعتزازهم, they were like they were honored. They had dignity. They were careful about their own al-izz, their power. وسعيهم إلى المجد, and they were all working to gain the glory, to gain power, to gain authority, to be victorious over others. So they observed these things, and some of these qualities remains with them. ومراميهم في المدافعة والحماية, and also their brave efforts to defend themselves, okay, and protect their country, their society, because the second generation, they observe these things, so those qualities still remains to a large extent with them. فلا يسعهم ترك ذلك بالكلية. So they never leave all these qualities they inherited completely. وإن ذهب منه ما ذهب, but they lose some of it, but not all of it. فيكونون على رجاء من مراجعة الأحوال التي كانت للجيل الأول. they always hope to be like their parents, to be like grandparents, you know, because they had all these good qualities. You know, they were brave, you know, they had victory, they had self-confidence, and they were like a fighting, and everybody was scared of them. You know, so they hope to be like them. You know, أو على ظن من وجودها فيهم, or they think we also have the same qualities. You know, so either they think, you know, we are no different than the first generation. We are also brave. You know, we are also fearless. You know, we are also like a dignified, honorable, victorious. We have glory. Either they have this illusion, you know, or they are aware that they are losing it, you know, gradually, but trying to revive it and to keep it. Very paradoxical, right? Very interesting. أما الجيل الثالث, then comes the third generation, okay? فينسون عهد البداوة والخشونة. So they completely forget the period of badawat and the period of roughness, and the period of courage, which was in the first generation. So third generation loses all these things. كأن لم تكن, as if it never existed in the society. You know, complete social change, complete cultural change, complete moral, ethical change. ويفقدون حلاوة العز والعصبية. So they lose the pleasure of glory, honor, and social unity. Like the first generation, they find the pleasure, you know, in social unity, al-asabiyya, and also having this victory, you know, having this glory. But this new generation, they don't give any importance, you know, to al-izz or al-asabiyya, because this is not something they enjoy. بما هم فيه من ملكة القهر, because they now internalized al-qahr. They internalize ملكة. إيش معنى ملكة؟
They are being subjective.
Huh?
Oppression. They are subjective.
ملكة.
ملكة العقل.
Huh?
Disposition.
Yes, disposition is the best. يعني internalized disposition. Internalized and well-rooted, well-established disposition. Like, let's say I have malaka to speak English. But when I was learning, I did not have malaka. I have to like think, oh, what is the verb, what's the adjective, you know, what's the past tense, what's the present tense. Like the same thing with driving. Okay, where is the gas, where is the brake? you know. So this is not malaka, yani. But now, like, you know, I learned driving, so I don't think like where is gas, where is brake. You know, I talk on the phone and driving, you know, which is very dangerous, right? You know, so this is malaka. So it's internalized skill, or internalized knowledge, or internalized talent, you know, disposition. So this becomes malaka al-qahr, yani you know, internalized subjugation. So they internalized qahr instead of al-izz. Okay. So the first generation, their malaka is al-izz, al-majd. It is internalized, you know, in them. But this generation, they internalize al-qahr. وَيَبْلُغُ فِيهِمْ التَّرَفُ غَايَتَهُ. And this luxury, extravagant consumption, leisure, reaches its highest limit in this generation. You know, they want like best of everything. You know, they have consumption, extreme consumption. They want to enjoy life. You know, okay. بما تفنكوه من النعيم وغدارة العيش. So they spend, like all their money, they invest on النعيم, good things, pleasures, and a comfortable life. This is what they want. فيصيرون عيالا على الدولة. This is very interesting. They become a burden on the state. They become a burden on the state because they want the state to provide them like all this good life, leisure, luxury. See what I mean? Without fighting for the state, without contributing to the state. ومن جملة النساء والولدان المحتاجين للمدافعة عنهم. So they become like, like women or the children who need to be protected. Because they are like cowardly, they lost, fighting, ملكة القهر. وتسقط العصبية بالجملة. And they abandon completely group unity, helping each other, taking care of each other, supporting each other. They completely abandon. They become individualists. Everyone is running after his or her interest and pleasures. No more caring for the rest of the society. This rise of individualism. This وينسبن الحماية والمدافعة والمطالبة. So they forget protecting their society, their country, and defending it, and also, asking for their rights, al-mutalaba, or persisting in their claims. Okay, so ويلبسون على الناس في الشارة والزي وركوب الخيل وحسن الثقافة يموهون بها. Okay, so ويلبسون على الناس, they deceive people. تلبيس, remember تلبيس الإبليس. So they deceive people. في الشارة والزي وركوب الخيل, with their weapons, with their nice dress, with their emblems, with their horses. وحسن الثقافة يموهون بها. So, with their education. So this is how they, present themselves nicely to deceive other people. Like when you look at them from outside, wow, these people, they are riding nice horses, they have good weapons, and they are well-educated people. This is how you see, from outside. But inside, what's the reality? وهم في الأكثر أجبن من النسوان على ظهورها. But in reality, they are more cowardly than women on top of those horses. They have like nice horses, nice weapons, nice dress, but in their heart, they are cowardly. They don't want to fight. They don't want حماية. They don't want مدافعة. They don't want مطالبة. Okay? فإذا جاء المطالب لهم لم يقاوموا مدافعته. مطالب, if someone comes for a claim, المطالب wants to take over power, okay? They are not going to fight to defend their power or their state, okay? فيحتاج صاحب الدولة حينئذ إلى الاستصهار بسواهم من أهل النجدة. So صاحب الدولة, the ruler, needs istishar, support, to get support from other people who have najda, who have brevity, He has to get some brave people from outside, recruit them as soldiers, to protect his power, his state, because his own people, they are عيال على الدولة, and they want luxury, good life, comfort, but they are not ready to fight. Okay. ويستكثر بالموالي. So he wants to increase the number of his followers, his supporters, but from outside, not from his own family, because his family lost this thing. ويصطنع من يغني عن الدولة بعد الغنى. يعني he educates اصطناع. يعني he tries to produce a new group of people who can support the state. حتى يتأذن الله بانقراضها. This continues until Allah Ta'ala decides that this state should collapse. So these are the last attempts by the ruling class to save their power, their rule, and their glory by getting help from outside. فَتَذْهَبُ الدَّوْلَةُ بِمَا حَمَلَتْ. So the state, with everything it offers, goes away. All this like wealth, luxury, this tranquil prosperity, with everything it offers, the state collapses and goes away, because al-mutalib al-jadid, somebody who's claiming power comes and nobody to resist against them. But they also go through the same process afterwards. So this paradoxical, no one remains in the power forever. وتلك الأيام نداولها بين الناس. Okay. فهذه كما تراه ثلاثة أجيال فيها يكون هرم الدولة وتخلفها. So you see that these are 3 generations, and this is the old age of the state and its collapse. This is how it happens. So you see, this is a very sociological analysis based on the individual qualities of the citizens of the state, or the members of the community. And you see the change is like he follows the change at different levels, most importantly in the akhlaq, like the morality, how it changes. Morality in the first phase, morality in the second phase, morality in the third phase. Also group unity, first phase, first generation, second generation, third generation, how it changes. Also, this commitment to defend the country, sacrifice for it. Recently, they made a research, what's the percentage of young people who would like to die for their country in the Muslim world. So the number is decreasing. It's getting less and less people who want to die for the country, but they want to enjoy the country. So it's a very paradoxical thing. But as I mentioned last time, so if this akhlaq, this Badawi akhlaq, al-khuluq al-badawa, is preserved, measures are taken for this, and this bravity, khushunet, al-ishtirak bil-majd, if these qualities are preserved, then it lives forever. It's possible. He's not predeterminist. Basically, he's warning. Okay, so these are the qualities, of the first generation. So if you maintain them, then nothing is going to happen. But if you leave it alone, this is what's going to happen. This is how things will unfold. And in a short time, this is what's going to happen. Okay? ولهذا كان انقراض الحسب في الجيل الرابع كما مر في أن المجد والحسب إنما هو في 4 آباء. So حسب, there is حسب and there is نسب. Okay, what's حسب?
Hasab has been partnership with the dynasty of the people.
What's حسب?
الحسب من الآباء والنسب من الأصهار.
Say it again.
الحسب من الآباء والنسب من الأصهار.
من الأصهار؟
أصهار نعم. نسب من الأصهار.
From the rule of
حسب what you did for yourself. But nasab, what you get from your father. For example, if you're the son of the king, you'll be prince for sure.
Yes. So this is nasab. But حسب is acquired qualities. حسب مكتسب. حسب مكتسب. نسب غير مكتسب. يعني موروث. نعم. So this حسب النسب. يعني okay. So ولهذا كان اقتراض الحسب. So this mulk is something part of حسب. You are gaining it. It's acquired, مكتسب. But you are losing it. Okay? It's part of حسب. في الجيل الرابع كما مر في أن المجد والحسب إنما هو في 4 آباء. So يعني in 4 generations maximum. So like a fourth generation loses that thing. وقد أتيناك فيه ببرهان طبيعي كاف ظاهر مبني على ما مهدناه قبل من المقدمات. So he says that I have explained this to you, that this glory may be maximum in 4th generations, like 3 generations before you. It cannot go further. ببرهان طبيعي. إيش معنى برهان طبيعي؟ empirical evidence. There is برهان عقلي, there is برهان طبيعي. يعني شفت كيف multiplexity here, like how he brings together different methods. There is برهان عقلي based on like نظر. There is برهان نقلي also, and then برهان طبيعي. برهان طبيعي empirical evidence, natural evidence. Okay, and this is of course depends on like empirical research. وهذه الأجيال الثلاثة عمرها 120 سنة على ما مر، ولا تعد الدول في الغالب هذا العمر بالتقريب قبله أو بعده. So approximately 120 years, he says. إلا إن عرض لها عارض آخر من فقدان المطالب. So if مطالب is absent, like nobody is trying to take over the state, then it can survive longer. فيكون الحرم حاصلا مستوليا والطالب لم يحضرها. So this infirmity, like the state is inflicted, with infirmity, with decline, but nobody is coming to take over, so it can survive longer. ولو قد جاء الطالب لما وجد مدافعا. But if someone who wants to take power comes, there is nobody to resist, because they are all involved in luxurious life. They are after enjoying themselves and comfort, and nobody wants to fight. فإذا جاء أجلهم لا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون. فهذا العمر للدولة بمثابة عمر الشخص من التزيد إلى سن الوقوف. So you see, it is similar. Life of the state is similar to life of the person. التزايد means growth, and then وقوف, then it stops. No more growing. Then there is a period of تزايد, then comes period of وقوف. growth stops. Okay. ثم إلى سن الرجوع. Then comes the third period in life, رجوع. So 3 periods: تزايد, وقوف, رجوع. So 3 generations: تزايد, وقوف, رجوع. ولهذا يجري على ألسنة الناس في المشهور أن عمر الدولة 100 سنة، وهذا معناه. فاعتبره واتخذ منه قانونا يصحح لك عدد الآباء في عمود النسب الذي تريده من قبل معرفة السنين الماضية. So if you want to calculate the generations, you can use this as a law. قانون, universal law. Okay, so if you want to calculate how many generations you had before you can use this. إذا كنت قد استربت في عددهم. So let's say you know somebody in your genealogy, and you want to calculate approximately when he lived. So he says you can use this. Calculate every generation 40 years. Okay, so I know my father's name is Ali, his father's name is Mustafa, his father's name is Ahmed. Okay, so when did Ahmed live? So 3 generations ago, so that means 120 years ago approximately. Okay, وكانت السنون الماضية منذ أولهم محصلة لديك، فعد لكل 100 من السنين 3 من الآباء. So every 100 years you calculate as 3 generations. فإن نفدت على هذا القياس مع نفوذ عددهم فهو صحيح. وإن نقصت عنه بجيل فقط غلط عددهم بزيادة واحدة في عمود النسب، وإن زادت بمثله فقد سقط واحد. وكذلك عدد السنين من عددهم إذا كان محصلا لديك، فتأمله تجده في الغالب صحيحا، والله يقدر الليل والنهار. So you see there is تكويني شريعة which is outside of our free will. تكويني. And then there is تكليفي. So there is العالم التكويني، الشريعة التكوينية which is beyond our free will, and then the تكليفي. تكليفي is under our free will. Under our free will, like Allah Ta'ala says, go to Salat. This is تكليفي. We may go, we may not go. It's up to us. Okay, Ramadan is coming, Allah says, sumu. It's up to us. This is تكليفي. So there are 2 domains in existence: the domain of تكليفي and the domain of تكويني. تكويني domain, we have no power to intervene. And this تكويني domain has 2 branches: تكوين طبيعي كوني and تكوين اجتماعي. So social تكوين, and then the natural تكوين. So 2. Both are sunanullah ta'ala. Sunanullah ta'ala, the laws Allah Ta'ala put there, they exist in society and they exist in nature. And the duty of the scholar, the scientist, is to discover laws of nature, laws of society. These are all created by Allah Ta'ala. Sunanullah al-ijtima'iyya, Sunanullah al-kawniyya. So there are 2 types, okay? So we build society, we build civilization, but civilization and society has laws beyond our power, okay? There is, we can only operate within the teklifi domain. This is the domain left to us by Allah Ta'ala. But there is a domain Allah predetermined. There is no way for us to intervene. So like no one can make a state survive forever, you know, because the Tekwini laws wouldn't allow something like this. You know, but we can preserve akhlaq. You know, this is teklifi domain. You know, we can do those things. We can preserve unity, al-asabiyya. We can preserve al-khuluq. You know, we can stay away from luxury, from excessive consumption, from leisure. You know, these are the things we can do because this is a teklifi domain. But if you don't follow the teklifi sharia, the tekwini sharia operates. You know, and the tekwini sharia is like this: 120 years, khalas. You know, so this is what's happening. But if you follow the teklifi sharia, then the endless life, you know, is possible for the state. Inshallah ta'ala. Any questions from you? Because we have time until Iqamah. Yes.
I wonder if there is some analogy with Plato in the Republic when he spoke about the transformation from the tribe to the city-state, from aristocracy to oligarchy to democracy. Was Khaldun reading Plato here, or was he making?
Yes, of course. Our scholars, they knew like a Greek philosophy, Persian philosophy, and Indian philosophy, like everything that existed, you know, in their times, they knew all of them, you know. But this has nothing to do, you know, with the Greek or Indian or Persian approach, and they did not mind, you know, reading their books and learning from them if there is something empirically proven based on burhan tabi'i, burhan aqli. They did not mind, and they are very open. So, like sometimes he says, "Okay, this is in Aristotle, this is in Plato. Yeah, I got it from there." You know, he doesn't see it as a problem, you know, to cite something, to learn something from them. But I mean, this change in history, change in society, change in political life, this is a phenomenon which drew attention of many philosophers, many historians, many thinkers, and they all try to come up with some kind of explanations. And those explanations sometimes similar, you know, to each other. But you know, here, like I mean, trying to analyze change. You know, we see the same effort, but a different explanation. You know, yes.
إذا أردنا نطبق هذه أجيال ثلاثة على دولة الخلفاء الراشدين.
نعم.
بالنسبة لدولة الخلفاء الراشدين لم تدوم أكثر من 40 سنة.
صحيح. صحيح.
يعني أين الخلل كان؟ يعني
نعم. يعني كما قلت، يعني هم اهتموا بالخلق، فلما الخلق يستمر الدولة يستمر. لما يضاع الخلق دولة تتدهور. نعم. لذلك يعني هو يقول يعني مثلا يعني في هذا الجيل الخشونة استمر، كانوا يجاهدون، يعني الجهاد استمر، ما ضيعوا جهاد. يعني هتشوف حتى مثلا في القرآن الكريم الله تعالى يقول ولا سبحان الله أنفسهم إلى التهلكة كيف كانت ولا تلقوا أنفسكم إلى التهلكة. يعني في حديث مروي عن سيدنا أبا أيوب خالد الأنصاري مدفون في إسطنبول. يعني هم جاءوا لفتح إسطنبول وهو جاء معهم. ف يعني بعض الناس أحبوا أن يهاجموا إلى أسفار إسطنبول، فهم سيقتلون، يعني يستشهدون. نعم. فاستدل بعض الناس بهذه الآية، قالوا ولا تلقوا أنفسكم إلى التهلكة، هذه التهلكة عليكم، يعني لا يجوز لكم أن تفعلوا هذا. فأبو أيوب خالد الأنصاري رضي الله عنه said أنتم تفسرون غلط، هذه الآية نزل فينا. نعم. قالوا كيف؟ قال نحن بعد فتح مكة وفتح خيبر جلسنا في مدينة كنا نتكلم، يعني أهملنا أنفسنا وزوجاتنا وحديقتنا وبيوتنا، خلاص يعني الآن نحن فتح وغنائم كله، يعني نستريح شوية نتمتع يعني في الحديقة في مزرعة كذا. فجاءت هذه الآية التهلكة الترف، التهلكة ترك الجهاد. نعم. التهلكة يعني تمشي وراء الأذواق الدنيوية، ليس التهلكة أنتم تتكلمون عنه. نعم. يعني ما يتكلم ابن خلدون تفسير هذه الآية، يعني التهلكة، يعني التهلكة ترك هذا الخلق، ترك الأخوة، ترك الوحدة. نعم. فترك الاستشارة، ترك الاشتراك في المجد. نعم. فهذه يعني كل هذه موجودة في الشريعة وفي السنة النبوية. ولكن هو سيوضح يعني لماذا الناس يعني يميلون إلى ترك هذه الأشياء. نعم. يعني هناك بعض الميول يعني في طبيعة الإنسان يعني يوجهه إلى الاستبداد، هذا يعني monopoly of power. نعم. واحد يحب هذا. نعم. ولكن بهذا الشكل هو يدمر نفسه يعني يزرع يعني بذور التدهور والسقوط. أيضا مثلا الإنسان يعني يحب هذا يعني الترف والتمتع بالحياة والتنعم. نعم. والتفنن بالمأكولات والمشروبات، هكذا يقول في مكان آخر، يعني المترفون يتفننون في الأطعمة والأشربة، يعني الإنسان يحب هذا. نعم. يعني من يوقف هذا؟ يعني اتباع سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. نعم. يعني هذا فقط يوقف هذا. فالعالم الإسلامي اليوم يعني مبتلى بهذا الامتحان. نعم. فعندنا الترف، مثلا نقود كثيرة والتطور الاقتصادي. أنا رتبت مؤتمر عن economic development and morality. Economic development and morality. You know, and from Ibn Khaldun perspective, you know, how can we develop economically and get rich without undermining our moral fabric? So what are the measures we should take? See what I mean? I organized another symposium again, consumption and morality, you know, and development and morality, you know, because I see that in the Muslim world, this is the greatest at-tahluka, yani. You know, on the one hand, we want to develop, but on the other hand, we have to take measures, you know, to preserve social fabric, moral fabric. Yeah? Now, in our college, we are working based on the same idea, civilizational sustainability. A new framework for civilization sustainability. It's based on moral sustainability. Moral sustainability, okay? You see, this is, if these people maintain moral sustainability of the first generation, nothing is going to happen to them, okay? But when they lose this morality, they lose their civilization, they lose their state, they lose their community. So this moral system is very important. But this moral sustainability requires epistemic sustainability. You know, and when I say epistemic sustainability, the Quran and Hadith, you know, accepting them as sources of knowledge and arranging, organizing your life according to Quran and Sunnah, then you are protected. Nothing's going to happen. You know, this moral sustainability ensures civilizational sustainability. I was invited to Malaysia. You know, I explained this thing to them also, but simply saying, I don't know if it's going to help or not. You know. You know, but this is like in all developing Muslim countries, you know, they have this tahlika and this risk of not taking measures to protect themselves from negative impact of wealth, you know, prosperity. Like we are not against wealth. We are not against development. We are not against, you know, richness. But if you don't take necessary measures, you know, to protect yourself from the negative impact of increase of wealth, you know, increase of power, increase of luxury, excessive consumption, extravagance, etc., then you are doomed. You know, so like our education system must take this into consideration. You know, and we should study like how Khulafa al-Rashidin and the Medina society were not influenced by all this money coming to Medina. You know, like they were conquering Egypt, conquering Persia, all these booties, you know, they were coming and they were not influenced. So they remained strong. Same thing with Umayyads, same thing with Abbasids, like what kind of measures they took. The Ottoman Empire, like how it survived 700 years, you know, what kind of measures they took, you know, so like all these like long-lived states, and then like how we lost Andalusia, you know, see what I mean? Then how we lost the Ottoman Empire. You know, like let me just give you one example and then I will complete. You may have visited Dolmabahce Saray in Istanbul, like on Bosphorus, right? You know, this palace was built when the state was very poor, you know, 19th century, and by loans borrowed from European Jewish bankers. But where is the palace of Sultan Süleyman the Magnificent? You know, where is the palace for Yavuz Sultan Selim? You know, in their time, the state was the richest. Okay? Jazakumullah khairan.